Honorable members of the Secretariat, fellow officers, admirable MUN directors, essential assistants, Presidency of the ICJ, indispensable members of staff, security, and press, distinguished guests, honorable authorities, good afternoon. My name is Sara Torrisi, and as Mistress of Ceremony, it is my honor to welcome you all to the official closing ceremony of the 21st Annual Session of General Model United Nations. With no further ado, I would like to officially start today's closing ceremony. It is now my pleasure to give the floor to the Secretary General of GeMUN 2024, Matteo Marinucci.
Honorable MUN directors, fellow members of the Secretariat, dear officers, delegates, and members of the International Court of Justice, hardworking members of staff, security, and press, good afternoon. I must admit that composing this speech has been a much bigger challenge than actually serving as Secretary General. As many of you are aware, this marks my final GeMUN session, and I find it quite difficult to articulate the emotion it has stirred within me and my deep attachment to this project. When I first sat down to outline what I wanted to say to all of you at this ceremony, my thoughts immediately drifted back to 5 years ago. Back then, I was a small and chubby delegate preparing to represent Senegal in the DISEC committee. Reflecting on that time, I still find myself amused by the mix of emotions I experienced. Over the years, my role in GeMUN has undergone several changes, and as time has passed, my feelings towards GeMUN have evolved, yet they remain as strong as ever, if not stronger. Stepping into the magnificent venues where our event is hosted just a few days ago, I was filled with anticipation to witness the fruition of our collective efforts. Now that I have seen it all, I realize that this marks the end of my journey. And in a few moments, I will walk out those doors, bidding farewell to everything. It is with profound reluctance and sadness that I stand here, delivering what will be my final speech at GeMUN. I wish I could linger here indefinitely, delivering this speech, as the uncertainty of what lies ahead fills me with apprehension. However, that is not possible, and I must bid farewell to it all. Sorry. It is ironic that at its 21st session, if GeMUN were a person, it would be considered an adult worldwide. And yet, my tenure in this project, which I have grown to deeply cherish, has been relatively short, albeit profoundly significant. For many of you, this may be your first experience, and perhaps you did not engage in the organizational aspects. So you might wonder why I am so emotional. I understand this sentiment. The first time I participated, I couldn't quite grasp why everyone on the podium was shedding tears, but now it is all too clear. Beyond the satisfaction of witnessing our collective efforts materialize, what moves me deeply is seeing the faces of those for who and with whom I have worked tirelessly. I wish I had the time to personally express my gratitude to each and every one of you, as it is truly thanks to your contributions that this edition of GeMUN has been a resounding success. Firstly, I extend my heartfelt appreciation to all the MUN directors whose efforts brought us all together. Next, I want to extend my gratitude to all the young women and men who have participated. It has been a delight to witness your engagement in various discussions, each of you bringing your unique perspective and passion to the table. I do not take your involvement for granted, and it brings me immense joy to see everyone participating with such fervor. I believe and hope that your passionate engagement indicates that we selected the right topics and successfully directed focus toward issues that resonated with you, igniting your eagerness to debate. In addition to the delegates, I feel compelled to express my gratitude to all the officers who worked tirelessly to ensure the conferences ran smoothly and calmly. I also extend my thanks to all the members and heads of staff, security and press for their invaluable assistance on numerous occasions. Lastly, my heartfelt appreciation goes to the Secretariat, assistants, and MUN directors for their unwavering support and companionship throughout this incredible journey. This journey, which now draws to a close, has transformed me into a more conscientious and informed individual. Over the years, I have had the privilege of meeting some of the most important people in my life and embarking on some of the most meaningful experiences and journeys. I hope that I have been able to leave a positive impact on GeMUN and its participants, even if only a small fraction of the impact it has left on me. Now, for one last time, I yield the floor back to the Mistress of Ceremony.
Thank you, Matteo, for your amazing speech. I now would like to give the floor to the co-president of the International Court of Justice. Co-president Elisabetta Salvi, you have the floor.
Honorable Mistress of Ceremony, Secretary and Undersecretary Generals, MUN directors, officers, distinguished guests, esteemed delegates, indispensable members of staff, security, and press, fellow members of the International Court of Justice, good afternoon. I am Elisabetta Salvi, co-president of the ICJ, currently attending my 5th and final year at Liceo Linguistico Internazionale Grazia Deledda. It is with deep honor that I stand before you today, reflecting on my journey over these past 5 years. In my first year of high school, I made the decision to step out of my comfort zone and apply to become a member of the press team, specifically as a reporter. However, it was in my 3rd year, when I transitioned to become a judge in the ICJ, that I believe I made one of the most significant decisions in my life. This year, I assumed the role of co-president, a position that, despite its considerable authority, also carries great responsibility. I am immensely grateful for the support of my colleague Emma and our invaluable registrar Anna, without whom I would not have been able to navigate the stress and tension that I tend to accumulate over time. The case we encountered this year proved to be particularly challenging to understand and analyze, seeing Gambia as the applicant party and Myanmar as the respondent party in a humanitarian dispute. Yet, Emma and I were confident that our judges and advocates would demonstrate the competence necessary to construct and examine the case thoroughly. Throughout my 3 years as a member of the court, I have gleaned numerous lessons, but perhaps the most impactful has been the importance of discerning even the subtlest nuances in legal contexts. This year's case exemplifies this, placing the judges in a position where discerning these differences was paramount in deciding the winning party. During this year of intensive meetings, every Friday from 2:30 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. and sometimes 6 p.m., my colleagues and I endeavored to prepare our judges and advocates to the best of our abilities, forming our amazing court. Following last year's edition of GeMUN, the court was left with just 5 members, prompting Emma and me to embark on a job hunt for new members. I am proud to say that I believe we succeeded admirably, and I couldn't be prouder of all of you. What I'm most grateful for, aside from the opportunity GeMUN has offered me to discuss various crucial topics for personal development, particularly for young individuals like ourselves, is a chance to grow alongside my friends. Each and every one of them has played a pivotal role in this project, starting from Davide Magliano, with whom I share some of my most cherished memories. You cannot imagine how proud I am of you for overcoming your insecurities and following me in my advice to join this significant endeavor. I must also extend my heartfelt gratitude to Matilda, who consistently supports me in all my endeavors, and Alessandra, one of the most brilliant individuals I know, the members of the Secretariat who have worked tirelessly, and MUN directors. Without them, none of this would have been possible. I would also like to thank our invaluable judges and advocates who endured our lengthy lessons and placed their trust in us throughout. And finally, to Emma and Anna, words cannot express how grateful I am to have you by my side, knowing that you will always be there for me. Thank you for all your hard work, Emma, and you have been an exceptional president, and Anna, an outstanding registrar. It has been a wonderful journey. Thank you for everything. I yield the floor back to the Mistress of Ceremony.
Thank you, Elisabetta, for your speech. It is now my pleasure to give the floor to one of the Undersecretary General of GeMUN 2024, Alessandra Gherardi. Miss Undersecretary General, you have the floor.
Fellow members of the Secretariat, officers, MUN directors, members of the ICJ, delegates, hardworking members of staff, security, and press, good afternoon. My name is Alessandra Gherardi. I am 18 years old, and I am currently attending my final year at Liceo Linguistico Internazionale Grazia Deledda. My journey with GeMUN began during my first year of high school, when I started as a shy member of security in the legal committee. Over time, I had the pleasure of serving as a judge in the International Court of Justice, and ultimately I had the honor of serving as an officer in the SOCOM committee. It has been a pleasure to serve as the Undersecretary General for this 21st annual session of GeMUN Model United Nations. The main theme of this edition, Generation Next, is at the heart of the empowerment process that all GeMUN participants actively strive for. The first crucial step toward positive change is awareness, both of widespread issues that impact all of us and of our own power. Understanding our capabilities is essential for achieving significant and sustainable change, which we can accomplish through effort and determination. Our generation faces the monumental challenge of reckoning with the legacy left by past generations. Issues such as climate change, discrimination, and economic crisis are just a few of the pressing problems affecting society today, which we will be inevitably confront as adults in the future. Each of us is called upon to speak up and make our voices heard, initiating necessary changes and solving problems. GeMUN serves as the launching pad for addressing global issues and presents a tremendous opportunity for all participants to contribute to positive change. Throughout these months of hard work, I have learned countless new things, but one lesson has stood out above the rest. Tenacity pays off. Never cease learning, practicing, and studying, because no one can ever take away your knowledge. Even if a goal of yours seems distant, they are attainable through commitment and dedication. There is truly nothing that cannot be achieved with perseverance and determination. It has been not only a pleasure, but a true honor for me to have the opportunity to work with such an incredible secretariat. A special thanks goes to my colleagues, Age, Sara, Emma, and Eleonora, who provided amazing support during the many afternoons spent at school. I would also like to express my gratitude to our Secretary General, Matteo Marinucci. Not only did he provide me with this wonderful opportunity, but he also guided all of us in the right direction and brought this event to fruition through his very deep passion. Thank you to our MUN directors, Mr. Orlando and Mr. Lozada, who shared their experience with us and helped us make this edition of GeMUN possible. Another special thanks, maybe the most special, goes to our President of the General Assembly, Davide. Davide has not only been a colleague for me, but a true friend, with whom I shared many experiences and shared many laughs, as we know. I am firmly convinced that each of us has the power to contribute in shaping the world of tomorrow, each one at their own pace and following our own unique path. Every voice holds significance, without distinctions or burdens. The importance of speaking up lies in the countless positive effects that our generation can generate by standing up for our beliefs, defending our principle, and creating feasible solutions. GeMUN has not only been a significant part of my school journey, but also a real opportunity for my personal growth. It has not only provided me the chance to finally stand up for my beliefs, to apply my knowledge to real-world issues, and to let my voices be heard by others. I am absolutely certain that in the future, I will look back on GeMUN as the most special part of my school career, not only because it provided me with the opportunity to realize my aspirations, but also because of the incredible people I met, the confidence I gained, and the beautiful moments I will always cherish. To conclude, I wish each one of you the ability to discover what truly fulfills and completes you. But most importantly, I encourage you to respect your own journey. Sorry. And I have faith that you are following the right path according to your own clock. So now for the last time, I yield the floor back to the Mistress of Ceremony.
Thank you, Alessandra, for your amazing speech. It is now my pleasure to give the floor to the other one of the Undersecretary General of GeMUN 2024, Eleonora Seghetto. Ms. Undersecretary General, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mistress of Ceremony, for the floor. Honorable MEN directors, fellow members of the Secretariat and officers, Presidency of the International Court of Justice, respected delegates, distinguished guests, and indispensable members of staff, security, and press, good afternoon. My name is Eleonora Seghetto, and I have the pleasure to serve as one of this year's Undersecretary Generals. First and foremost, I want to thank our MEN directors, Mr. Lozada and Mr. Orlando, who have guided us through this journey, and my amazing colleagues, without whom it wouldn't have been the same, Matteo, Alessandra, Emma, Davide, Aja, and Sara. Needless to say that now, at the end of this incredible path I've had throughout the past few years, the opportunity to learn such precious values and lessons. And often, I noticed how people tend to obsess over success and ambition. Therefore, for once, I would like to focus on failure as the ultimate dread of our generation. Having taken part into our conferences, we should remember that there is no such thing as an overnight success. Perhaps this conviction that we can be catapulted to fame in 24 hours is just a fallacy, a myth that belongs to an internet phenomenon of our time. As the title Generation Next suggests, we are the generation to whom the world is being handed, and I am sure that each and every one of us has something valuable to offer. However, regardless of our objectives, it is crucial to acknowledge the inevitable challenges and obstacles that await us on our journey. You might wonder why I'm highlighting these difficulties instead of delivering a rousing speech about our ability to change the world. Indeed, we do possess the power to enact change. But life doesn't conform to the instantaneous success often portrayed on social media. In reality, success stories rarely begin with the phrase, "I made it on the first try." And failure isn't a tragedy. It's an opportunity to delve deeper into our true desires and aspirations, and ultimately to understand ourselves better. Even as I stand before you today, I am no exception to this fear of failure. At 18 years old, I too harbor apprehensions, and I can assure you, even the most seemingly confident individuals share the same exact fear. Being young entails navigating numerous barriers. Yet, even in the face of failure, it's imperative to maintain your inner spark and resist becoming cynical or apathetic. So find the courage to persevere, or if it's necessary, recalibrate your dreams if you realize they no longer align with your passions. In conclusion, I wish you all the attainment of your dreams, but more importantly, I hope that one day you'll reflect back and realize that despite the challenges, things do indeed work out in the end. Oh, I'm sorry. And perhaps you'll come to recognize that your failures were integral to your eventual success. And with that, I yield the floor back to the Mistress of Ceremony. Thank you.
Thank you, Leonora, for your speech. It is now my pleasure to give the floor to the President of the General Assembly of GeMUN 2024, Davide Magliano. Mr. President, you have the floor.
Okay. Honorable Women Directors, fellow members of the Secretariat and Officer, Presidency of the ICJ, respected, of the ICJ, respect delegates, distinguished guests, and indispensable member of staff, security, and press, good afternoon. I'm Davide Magliano. I'm embarked on my journey with GeMUN as delegate 2 years ago. Initially, I was uncertain about what to expect, but in the end, I proved to be a wonderful surprise. I transitioned from delegate to chair in UNEA, and now I stand before you as the president of the GA, supported by my esteemed colleague Aje. Therefore, this marks my final GeMUN conference. It's incredible how swiftly these years have passed, bringing me to the culmination of this remarkable journey. However, as is characteristic of GeMUN, one's tenure parallels that of delegate speech. Eventually, your time runs its course, making way for others to speak at the conference. Yet the beauty of GeMUN lies in its capacity to foster new ideas, nurture progress, and empower the next generation, or as I prefer to say, the generation next. It is from us that change values of equality, respect, and above all, freedom of thought, which regrettably is no longer a giving it. Sorry. It's from us that change emanates, and it's our responsibility to instill in our children the values of equality, respect, and above all, freedom of thought, which regrettably is no longer a given in today's world. While some may argue that the topics discussed may not solely pertain to the youth, it is evident that they are issues of paramount importance to our generation. Today, within NGA, a plethora of compelling topics have been deliberated upon, eliciting diverse and significant opinions aimed at crafting collective solutions to better our world. This reinforces the crucial message that change is indeed spearheaded by young people, and it is incumbent upon us consistently champion and defend it. However, amidst the seriousness and the dedication, GeMUN also fosters a sense of community. Over the years, I had the privilege of encountering numbers remarkable individuals who have contentiously imparted valuable lessons. Thought expressing gratitude to each of them would prolong my speech indefinitely. I believe it's imperative to acknowledge some names. Firstly, I extend my heartfelt appreciation of the Moon director, Rosada, and Orlando, whose unwavering belief in this project and tireless effort have been instrumental in its realization. I also extend gratitude to the entire Secretariat. Together, we forgot a strong bond, blending dedication with enjoyment. In particular, I wish to express my gratitude to Alexandra and Elisabetta, who are not merely GeMUN colleagues, but also companions in life, always offering unwavering support. I hope to continue having them by my side for the foreseeable future. Lastly, I am profoundly grateful to the Secretary General for entrusting me with this role and providing me with this opportunity. As I conclude my speech, I express my hope that young individuals, much like myself, will be inspired to partake in this project. Beyond its capacity for empowerment, GeMUN introduces you to a myriad of individuals always willing to lend a helping hand and share moments of laughter and joy. I hold immense affection for each and every one of you. Now, the most difficult part. I yield the floor for the final time to our most beautiful mistress of ceremony, Sarah.
Thank you, Davide, for your speech. It is my pleasure to welcome our charity fundraisers. To read out the outcome of this year's charity donations. Charity partners, you have the floor.
Dear guests and participants, I'm Martina Proietti, and with Benedetta Vassallo, I'm part of the team of charity in GeMUN 2024. The money we raise in these days will go to the Foundation Help Code, which helps children all around the world with different significant projects. I would like to thank you all for your precious collaboration and to inform you that the total amount of money will be published on the official site of GeMUN in a few days. I yield the floor back to the Mistress of Ceremony. Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry to interrupt, but an unforeseen circumstance has arisen. Please may the first assistants approach the podium. Now turn around. And look at all of the beautiful people who depended so much from you. Thank you for everything you did without ever getting the spotlight. Please, house, give these 4 precious girls the loudest round of applause. Thank you. I will now gladly call upon the heads of press, Arturo Signorelli and Lucrezia Tealdo. Arturo and Lucrezia, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mistress of Ceremony, for the floor. Okay. Good afternoon, esteemed participants, officers, delegates, and diligent members of press, security, and staff. As the heads of the press team for GeMUN 2024, my colleague Lucrezia Tealdo and I, Arturo Signorelli, stand before you with profound gratitude and appreciation. Our dedicated team of about 20 members, including reporters and photographers, has worked to ensure the success of the 21st session themed Generation Next. We have been entrusted with the pivotal task of producing the GeMUN newspaper, maintaining active engagement on social media platforms, and crafting captivating visual content. Additionally, we have overseen the graphic elements of GeMUN, striving for aesthetic coherence throughout the event.
Firstly, we would like to deeply thank our fantastic and dedicated members of our team, both photographers and reporters, who worked to immortalize this event, and we are proud of you. Our health thanks extend to the MUN directors, Edoardo Lozada and Daniele Orlando, Secretary General Matteo Marinucci, and the entire Secretariat for their indispensable roles in orchestrating the success of GeMUN. The unwavering dedication of the staff and the vigilant effort of the security personnel have been instrumental in ensuring the seamless execution of this event. Our journey at GeMUN has been profoundly enriching. We are deeply honored to have been part of this international gathering. As this marks our final GeMUN, we wish to express our sincerest gratitude for the opportunity to serve and contribute to such a meaningful event. We extend our best wishes to those who will assume our roles next year, confident that we'll uphold our esteemed legacy. With unyielding dedication and eager anticipation, we urgently look forward to capturing and sharing the essence of this remarkable event. Thank you. Yes. We yield the floor back to the Mistress of Ceremony.
Thank you, Arturo and Lucrezia. I will now gladly call upon the heads of staff, Vittoria Lazzaretti and Giorgia Rocca. You have the floor.
Honorable chairs, fellow delegates, distinguished members of ICJ, hardworking members of press, security, and staff, good afternoon. We are Vittoria Lazzaretti and Giorgia Rocca, and this marks our fifth and last GeMUN. Regarding the theme, Youth Reshaping the World, we firmly believe that GeMUN exemplifies how young people can actively contribute to making the world a better place. It provides us with a platform to share ideas about both the present and the future, as well as an opportunity to realize that everyone, whatever their role, is fundamental for the success of the collectivity. From the age of 14 until now, we have experienced significant personal growth through our participation in this event. GeMUN has taught us the value of hard work, duty, responsibility, organization, and above all, the importance of teamwork. In the months leading up to these 3 days, there has been immense effort, which would have been unbearable without the collaboration of our staff members and the support of the security team. We extend our heartfelt gratitude to our colleagues, Samuele Frustaglia, Gabriele Corsi, and Edoardo Cappanera.
Despite the challenges we faced, we also experienced many joyful moments that enriched us, and we remain close to our hearts. As this was our first time serving as heads of staff, we initially feared that we may not be up to the task. However, now that GeMUN has concluded, we are satisfied with our efforts. This role has taught us how to efficiently address problems and ensure effective cooperation among all involved. As we reach the end of our journey, we hope that we have demonstrated our commitment and dedication to everyone who worked with us, especially to our future successors, just as our predecessors did for us. In conclusion, we express our gratitude to our MUN directors, Edoardo Lozada Cabruja and Daniele Orlando, and the entire Secretariat for their guidance and support throughout the organization of these days. Thank you all for listening. We yield the floor back to the Mistress of Ceremony.
Thank you, Vittoria and Giorgia. I will now gladly call upon the heads of security, Samuele Frustaglia, Gabriele Corsi, and Edoardo Cappanera. You have the floor.
Honorable Moon Directors, Member of Secretariat, dear officers, delegates, and indispensable members of staff, security, and press, good afternoon. I'm Samuele Frustaglia. For the security team, this year was really complicated. We had some issues that initially slowed down our work, but then we faced every obstacle once at a time, and as the team we are. And then all the problems fell into place. For this reason, I want to thank my colleagues, Gabriele Corsi and Edoardo Cappanera, with whom I shared every decision we made. The member of security, because despite the problems, they continue to work with seriousness and harmony. I also want to thank you, our colleagues of staff, Giorgia Rocca and Vittoria Lazzaretti, because we cooperated every time to make this incredible event possible. They are amazing, so thank you very much. In the end, a huge thanks goes also to Moon Director, Mr. Orlando, because he believed in me and my capacity no matter what, and taught me the possibility to see the problems in a different way, and I will never forget this. Thank you all.
Honorable chairs, dear delegates, and beloved members of staff, press, and security. I'm Gabriele Corsi, and along with Samuele Frustaglia and Eduardo, we are speaking to the House as heads of security. I would like to express my full support regarding the choice of a topic that finally puts young minds into active solving of problems that will concern us personally in the near future. When I first set foot into an organization like this one, I didn't think about how much I would have felt attached to an event such as the one we are experiencing right now. Since the very beginning, I took this job with strong commitment and heartfelt determination. Thanks to this, I learned how it's like to have an impact and responsibilities on greater events involving international students, still knowing what it's like to spend my time allowing these conferences to take place. Of course, I didn't fulfill my duties all by myself. As a matter of fact, I must thank the crucial help of the heads of staff, Vittoria and Georgia, and my fellow security members that demonstrated engagement during the long, hard-working months before. As an example, I would like to highlight the remarkable job of Tommaso Barabino. In conclusion, I would like to thank all of you for your presence today here in Genoa. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. I am Edoardo Cappanera. Like my colleagues and friends, Gabriele and Samuele, I was named Head of Security in the middle of this GeMUN 2024. Of course, I wasn't really prepared for all of this. And in fact, I wanted to thank all the people who have helped me and who have helped us during these 3 days to make our last GeMUN the best possible. Firstly, I wanted to thank Luca, Carlotta, Matteo, Aurora, Silvia, Matilde, Aurora, and Michela, all the members of staff and security of ECOSOC that have done a flawless job. I also wanted to thank our Moon directors, Mr. Orlando and Mr. Losada, our amazing Secretary General, Matteo Marinucci, all the members of the Secretariat, my colleagues and friends, Gabriele, Samuele, Giorgia, Vittoria, Arturo, and Lucrezia, heads of security staff and press, all the chairs, the delegate, and assistants. Last but not least, I really wanted to thank all the indispensable members of security, staff, and press that have made possible and unforgettable my last GeMUN. Thank you all, guys. And now, for my first and last time, I hold back the floor to the Mistress of Ceremony.
Thank you, Samuele, Gabriele, and Eduardo for your speeches. We will now entertain the speech by the MUN Director, Eduardo Lozada. Mr. Director, you have the floor.
Dear guests and participants, as we approach the final moments of this year's conference, please allow me to thank you all for taking part in it and making it memorable. Delegates and MUN directors coming from abroad or even from the other part of town, old and hopefully new friends, your collaboration has been essential and precious. Thanks also to our local delegates, staff, security, and press for making it happen after so many months of preparation, indignation, imprecations, and so on. Thank you for making me realize that I still have the fire to deal with all this. A special thank you to the Secretariat and the officers, as spending time together rephrasing topics has probably been my favorite part of the whole process. A special thanks to our director, Mrs. Fada, and our principal, Mrs. Miliardi, for their support, to all my fellow colleagues and admin personnel for being here with us and for us. A very special thank you to Daniele, who has to deal every day with my boomerism, which is getting worse year after year. Without him, it will be impossible to keep this machine running. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Wait. Okay, go ahead. So, while Daniele was a kid listening to the Spice Girls back in the 90s, I was a brooding, intense, alternative music-loving teenager looking for cultural references to identify with and to build my character up while trying to figure myself out. You must understand that the 90s were very interesting years, especially regarding music and movies, as they were fueled by an unprecedented flux of teenage angst that created a fertile environment where brooding, intense teenagers like me could revel in. So I came across this verse from a Smashing Pumpkins song. Hopefully you know who the Smashing Pumpkins are. Youth is wasted on the young. Of course, this phrase threw me into the deepest, darkest abyss of despair that lasted for around 3.5 minutes. And then I moved on, as I thought that only an old, resentful jerk could say something like this out of envy. And then you start to grow up. You go through school, get an A, fail a test, get drunk, meet the love of your life, and stay together until you meet the real love of your life. You go to college, you succeed, you fail, you embarrass yourself, you become someone else's pride. You realize that that person wasn't actually the love of your life. You get a job and start paying bills and taxes, and at some point, all of a sudden, you find yourself standing in front of a bunch of young people, and all you can think about is that your right knee is hurting too much. And then you wonder if this is how old feels like, because nobody prepared you for this. And the temptation to only care about your hurting knee takes the better of you. But growing up, or better, growing old, means also growing wiser. So as you grow old, if you care enough, you develop an awareness of everything that happened in all those years prior. And you realize you don't just care about yourself, you start actually caring about what is around you, other people and the future of other people. If you pay attention, if you care to do so, you realize that there is no actual distinction between my generation or yours. It is, in fact, a continuum. It appears to me that if you actually care, you are able to navigate along this timeline back and forth. It is when you stop caring that you freeze, not forever young, but out of it. You stop being young, and this is why I consider myself fortunate enough, because I have the privilege of working with you here at GeMUN and every day at school. Every day I find that inspiration that keeps me young. Long-lasting human connections are key. Every GeMUN edition has been distinguished for one or two reasons. This one has been the year of meeting so many former GeMUN members that came to visit, show support, say hello, and hug us. They have no clue how much it means to me. It actually rewires my brain and gives me life. But my knee still hurts, no matter how much I actually care. Time passes and bodies and minds start to decay. That is reality. That's why a synergy between all of us, no matter the age and the walk of life that accompany each of us, becomes so necessary. So you can walk the walk as we, the older ones, continue to talk the talk, hopefully the right talk, which is not by loading you with a responsibility that should be collective, if not primarily ours. Pardon me if I divert for a second, but this matter really hit me a couple of years ago as I was observing from afar the situation in my home country, Venezuela, where the grown-ups relied exclusively on young students, los estudiantes, who were leading massive protests against the government and that were brutally repressed. The protests lasted for 4 months until the students decided to give up. Nearly 200 people were held captive, tortured, and killed by the police. One of the victims' last message was, "Mom, I want to fight for Venezuela. If I don't come back, it means I went away with our home country." And as terrible and heartbreaking as this sounds, what shook me the most, what shook me the most was the reaction of the rest of the population. The elderly, my generation, thank you, felt abandoned and let down by the students and blamed them for not going through all the way, for not offering themselves to the cause, for the glory. 200 lives were not enough for them. And I feel shame about that. This is not a responsibility for youth to pay respect to those that preceded them. It was a mere sacrifice, and a sacrifice totally uncalled for. For the youth to take action is not a rite of passage that anyone, as they grow old, may bestow on them. It still must be a collective effort. But because not all of my companions, the elderly, actually grow wiser as they grow old, the one responsibility that you actually have is to hold us accountable for any and all of our mistakes or shortcomings. No matter how much my knee hurts or how little I seem to care, there is no excuse ever not to care. I know I'm preaching to the converted. If you are here, you have already started caring. And if the notion of youth as a continuum does apply when you move from youth to adulthood, it also applies to even the younger ones whom you are already taking care of just by showing up here today and showing that you do care about the world you live in. Show them how to care. And show them that every act, no matter how small, is a step in the right direction. If you don't, your youth, that precious energy that you have, will actually be wasted on the younger. To expand on the verse from the Smashing Pumpkins that hopefully was not wasted on me, so that I wouldn't waste it on you. As I'm growing older, I often go back to that verse, and over time I even research it, and actually found out that the original might date a couple of centuries back. It was attributed to many, but most reputable sources claim it was first written by George Bernard Shaw in a form that is even wiser, and that leads to my final invitation to you, to all generations. The phrase actually goes like this: youth, like love, is wasted on the young. It is not by chance that love and youth have been coupled together in this phrase, maybe with cynicism, but we got all over that already, because to love is probably the most revolutionary act that we all can make, and revolution will forever keep us young. Thank you. I yield the floor back to the Mistress of Ceremony.
Thank you, GeMUN Director, for your amazing speech. We'll now entertain the Best Delegate, Judge, and Advocate Awards. I would like to remind the delegations that, if nominated, they should not approach the podium to claim their certificates, but will receive them by email. I'll now leave the floor to the chairs of SOCUM, ECOFIN, SPECPO, Security Council, ECOSOC, and UN Women. Also the presidency of ICJ, to give out the awards and to announce the case's verdict. We remind the delegations that when nominated for the awards, you can stand up so we can congratulate with you.
Dear participants,
Chairs of SOCUM, you have the floor.
Thank you, sorry. Dear participants of GeMUN 2024, good afternoon. I'm Cristina Cataeva, and I'm attending my 5th and unfortunately last year at Liceo Linguistico Internazionale Grazia Deledda. During these days of conferences, I had the honor to serve as the main chair of the SOCUM committee, alongside my 3 amazing colleagues and now friends, Sara Garbarino, Maya Saetti, and Marianna Gigliotti. I want to express my heartfelt thanks to them for their support and collaboration. I would also like to extend my gratitude to the MUN directors, Mr. Lozada and Mr. Orlando, the Secretariat, and all those involved in organizing this wonderful and memorable event. With no further words, it is my pleasure to announce the delegations that stood out the most. The honorable mentions are the delegations of Fiji, the delegation of Morocco, and the delegation of Libya. Congratulations. Last but not least, the Best Delegate Award goes to Israel. I yield the floor to the ECOFIN committee.
Dear guests and participants, good afternoon. My name is Martina Bocerani and I'm currently attending my 4th year at Liceo Linguistico Internazionale Grazia Deledda, and during this GeMUN I served as the main chair in the Economic and Financial Committee. I wanted to thank my fellow colleagues Irene, Costanza and Martina for their excellent job as chairs, because without them this conference wouldn't have been possible. But I'm here to announce the 3 honorable mentions and the best delegate of my committee. So the honorable mentions go to delegation of Iran, Libya, and Fiji. And the best delegate of the ECOFIN committee is the delegation of Nepal. I yield the floor to the chairs of SPECPO.
Okay. Dear delegates, indispensable members of staff, security and press, honorable officers, fellow members of the ICJ, distinguished guests, Secretariat and MUN directors, good afternoon. My name is Viola Coni, and I'm currently attending my 4th year at Liceo Internazionale Grazia Deledda, and I had the honor to be the chair in SPECPOL this year. Thank you for the past 3 days. I hope you enjoyed this GeMUN 2024. I would also like to thank my co-chair, Alex, Zoe, and Beatrice. Thank you. It's now my pleasure to nominate the 3 honorable mentions of SPECPOL, the delegation of China, the delegation of United Kingdom, and the delegation of Portugal. Congratulations. I would like now to mention the best delegate of SPECPOL of GeMUN 2024, delegation of South Africa. Congratulations. I now yield the floor to the Officer of Security Council. No, sorry. Yeah, Security Council.
Honorable MUN Directors, Secretariat, fellow officers, delegates, and member of staff, security and press, good afternoon. I'm Zinni Martinelli, and last couple of days, I've had the pleasure of serving as main president of the Security Council, where we've discussed important matters regarding the world right now, such as the Israel-Gaza crisis, threats in West Africa, and the sea dispute in China. We entertain fruitful debates every session, and all the delegates were extremely remarkable, but some of them stood out the most to us. It is my pleasure to announce that with my fellow colleagues Alice, Sofia, and Serena, we've decided to give honorable mentions to the delegation of Algeria, Mozambique, and China. So, congratulations. And lastly, we'd like to give the Best Delegate Award to the delegate of the United Kingdom. Thank you, everybody. I yield the floor back. I yield the floor to the officers of ECOSOC. Thank you.
Okay. So, dear guests and participants, I'm Ginevra Romanelli, and I served as the main chair of the ECOSOC committee. I would like to thank all the delegates for their commitment, staff and security for their work, and my colleagues for their support. It has been an amazing and fruitful debate. It is my pleasure to announce the 3 honorable mentions that go to Bolivia, China, and the United Kingdom. Okay. And finally, the Best Delegate Award goes to Sweden. And congratulations to all delegations. I give the floor to the UN Women chairs.
Dear delegates, indispensable members of staff, security and press, honorable officers, members of the ICJ, distinguished guests, members of the Secretariat and MUN directors, good afternoon. My name is Sasha Jolas, and I'm honored to have served as one of the main chairs in this GeMUN UN Women Committee, alongside with Fabiola, Silvia, and Cora, with whom I shared a wonderful experience. Thank you for these past 3 days. I hope you had great debate sessions and enjoyed this GeMUN 2024. It is my pleasure now to announce the honorable mention for the UN Women Committee Delegation of India, Iran, and Germany. And finally, best delegate goes to Turkey. Congratulations. I would now like to yield the floor to the presidency of the ICJ.
I don't know. Okay, thank you. We have the honor of delivering the verdict for this year.
So the International Court of Justice, after due deliberation regarding the application by the State of Gambia in the proceedings of the application of the Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide, declares the applicant party as the winning party, with 10 votes in favor and 3 against. Whereas the parties... Okay, sorry. Sorry. The court makes the following findings of fact and/or law. Whereas the state of Myanmar has been found blocking and impeding the fleeing of the Rohingya ethnic minority to other countries as proven by evidence-free, whereas the Rohingya population was proven to be established in a state of Rakhine before 1823, whereas the actions carried out by the state of Myanmar do not fall under the term of ethnic cleansing, whereas the Myanmar government organized the propaganda inciting the violence against the Rohingya population, whereas the applicant party proved beyond any reasonable doubt the subsistence of dolus specialis in the actions against Rohingya. Therefore, the International Court of Justice orders judges and decrees that the Rohingya do not fall under the provision about the denial of citizenship enacted by Myanmar's government. The state of Myanmar has breached Article 2 of the Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide. The state of Myanmar has breached Article 3 of Convention of the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide. The state of Myanmar has breached Article 5 of the Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide. After looking at the evidence provided by both the applicant and the respondent parties, the following measures should be put forward in order: that Myanmar shall immediately stop armed or any other type of attack on the ethnic minority of the Rohingya, and that the citizenship law implemented by Myanmar in 1982 shall be modified in order to extend the right of citizenship to the Rohingya, and that the Rohingya shall be recognized by other states as Burmese citizens and not as different entities, and that the government of Myanmar shall promote the integration of Rohingyas in any way possible, such as building new residential buildings and other facilities, and that the parties shall immediately appeal to the court whether there will be conditions to consist in an ulterior breach of the Convention of Genocide, such as Article 3, subclauses B, C, and D. Thank you.
We will now proceed assigning the awards for Best Judge and Best Advocate. We decided to assign the award of Best Judge to Judge Remondini.
And we decided to assign the Best Advocate to Advocate Ndoy.
And the honorable mentions are Judge Sodi, Judge Spinetta, Judge De Marchi, Judge Stocchino, and Judge Battolla. We now yield the floor back to the Mistress of Ceremony.
Thank you, Emma and Elisabetta. It is now my pleasure to give back the floor to the Secretary General of GeMUN 2024, Matteo Marinucci.
Okay, so once again, I would like to thank all of you for coming and participating with such fervor to this conference and for making this experience so wonderful. And now it is with extreme pain that I declare this GeMUN session over.
I would like to thank everyone who joined us today And I would like to wish all officers, delegates, MUN directors, staff security and press members all our best wishes. Thank you for participating to GeMUN 2024. This concludes the official closing ceremony of the 21st Annual Session of GeMUN of the United Nations. Thank you.